Well, Pete Buttigieg is once again sparking 2028 speculation. The former transportation secretary has been making the rounds with appearances at town halls and manosphere podcasts. The 2020 presidential candidate held a veterans-focused town hall in Cedar Rapids, Iowa last night. The event drew more than 1,600 people, standing room only, and Buttigieg had a not-so-subtle message for Trump. Let's take a look.
Freedom means freedom from overbearing government, something we should be able to join hands, progressives, conservatives, libertarians, at a moment when the President of the United States thinks he can send you to another country or shut down the broadcast license of a TV station if he doesn't like what it has to say. That is not freedom. We have lost some freedoms in this country during this administration and the previous Trump administration. But we will not rest until we have restored freedoms like a woman's right to choose.
Buttigieg had his name thrown around recently for other reasons. Current Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy's blaming Buttigieg for the meltdown at Newark Liberty Airport, saying, quote, Biden and Buttigieg spent more time changing the name of the cockpit to flight deck than fixing our air traffic control infrastructure.
Still, Buttigieg is also earning praise on X. Call to Activism's writing, damn, Pete Buttigieg just delivered a masterclass at his Iowa town hall. Calm, sharp, and commanding. He laid out exactly how we take back our freedoms from Trump's chaos and corruption. This is what leadership looks like.
So I know you're a fan of former
boss,
Pete
yes,
Buttigieg. Look, I appreciate that while I substantially don't agree with his policy ideas, he does a good job, I think, of talking to the other side in unfriendly territory. He is one of the few Democrats who is willing to go on Fox News, who is willing to do long interviews with people all over the place. He's done interesting appearances on some podcasts. I think he gets it, as does Gavin Newsom, frankly, that you can't just talk to the already converted. You have to, especially if the Democratic Party is going to try to win back young men who flocked to Trump in the last election. That means being on podcasts, being in media spaces where they are present. Now, this is a little different than that, but it's also clearly important to talk to middle, regular, normal Americans, not politically super paying attention to every last detail of everything. I certainly like that he emphasized the themes of freedom and the things he thinks Trump is doing.
And freedom of speech specifically.
Right. I love that. The things he thinks the Trump administration is doing that violate freedom. What do you make of what your former boss is up to?
Well, the thing is, so when Pete first burst onto the national political scene as the 30-something mayor of a small town called South Bend, everybody commented on the fact that he was doing interviews, whether it was with Fox News or other venues, other media vehicles, because it was necessity. He was a small town mayor. But actually, I think what we're seeing now is the continuation of a very deep-seated philosophy that you just need to go everywhere and talk to everyone. And I think the reason why some of these interesting podcasts he's doing, even the format of going on Colbert or the town hall that he did last night, why it's interesting is because it's unscripted. One might argue that this is part of the reason why Trump is so interesting, because he's unscripted. It makes it more challenging from a campaign staffer, political strategist perspective if your person, your principal, has to go into an environment where you have less control, but it makes it authentic. It makes it something that's appealing to people. So I think it's fascinating to see him do it. And also, as somebody who knows him, he's obviously having a very good time marching around with his sleeves rolled up and engaging with people.
Is he running?
Well, what he has said, as you very well know, Robby, is that he wants to be useful. I mean, this is another thing about Pete, is I really do take him at his word. There was all this speculation about whether he was going to run for governor of Michigan or for Gary Peters' seat that he's vacating in the Senate. And as I understand it, he very much thought about it and then decided to go a different way. So here he is at the beginning, it looks like, of a process around 2028, and we shall see.
The reason to do podcast appearances, as far as I can tell, if you're a Democrat, is because you're interested in running for president. I know Gavin Newsom is going to go for it for certain. I guess Kamala Harris still wants to do it. I'm baffled that she wants another go at this.
I'd be very surprised if she didn't throw her hat in the ring. I feel like it's hard when you're a heartbeat away from the presidency and you actually ran to not want to make another go of it.
Yeah, I guess she wants to more suffering. So it's going to be Gavin Newsom. Here's my prediction. Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Josh Shapiro and Gretchen Whitmer, because they have to, because their names were just thrown.
Andy Bashir.
Pushed forward. I don't know that he's going to run. And AOC. So those are going to be the 5 biggest people running. And then Pete would make 6 for sure.
I think they're going to be like 5
crowded.
more that we're just not thinking about.
Well, there's going to be 800 more.
You know, there's Ruben Gallego doing events.
He's going to run for. He's already going for presidency, huh? Yeah, he's trying to moderate himself tremendously to some success. You know, I think he's showing the way forward for Democrats a little bit. I think Josh Shapiro is. I think Gavin Newsom is. They just need to break their, get people out of the mindset that the Democrats are the hectoring party, the eat your vegetables party, the uncool party, the party of uncool moms. I know you're a cool mom, but the party of uncool moms.
I think Pete would argue that he's not a cool dad.
Yeah.
Although he's sporting the dad beard right now. I mean, the thing about Pete that I find interesting is, I mean, apart from the fact that he is just a lovely human being, is that he really is a great communicator. I mean, he has this ability to take really complicated things and break them down in a way that people understand them. You know, it reminds me of some of my other bosses in the past who similarly have taken things. I mean, you're not a big Tim Kaine fan, but he's a brilliant guy who is able to talk to people in a way that they can relate to. Barack Obama, another brilliant guy, was able to get across messages that maybe wouldn't have resonated if somebody else was a mouthpiece.
Did you mean Tim Walz? Or
No,
Tim
Kaine was my former boss.
Democrats love interchangeable Tims.
Tim and Tim, yes, both kind human beings. But Pete's whole thing is, you know, he's not sitting there spewing talking points. And when you see him doing these interviews, he's actually processing the question in real time, and he's thinking about what the appropriate answer is. So, you know, I've gotten a chance to obviously see him up close and personal. He's a hardworking guy. I mean, you could do a lot worse than Pete Buttigieg as president.
I heard Trump had some not so kind remarks for Buttigieg, accused him of ruining everything having to do with transportation, but then backdoored into a comment. But he's a nice family and his nice husband. Did you hear that the other day? It was so Trumpian.
No,
like,
I did not.
Ruined everything, horrible transportation, but nice family.
But a nice guy,
Yeah.
nice guy.
That's very... We are going to be interviewing an exciting interview coming up a little bit later. Interview with Catherine Herridge, former reporter for Fox News and some other places, who's now doing some really exciting things on X. Lots of investigations into all sorts of subjects. Did some co-reports with Michael Schellenberger about the Hunter Biden laptop and all that. But we're going to talk to her about what the government might know about Havana syndrome,
Right, I can't wait for this conversation.
which is a interesting story that I don't even have my mind made up about very much. Usually I'm pretty decided on the things we end up talking about. I can't tell if it's real, if there's some massive cover-up, what is actually the deal with this. So we're going to talk to Catherine Herridge about it. You won't want to miss that. And that does it for us today so far on Rising. It was lovely being with you again, Lynda.
Always, yes.
We always have so much fun. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. I'll be back here tomorrow with Niall Stanage. We'll see you then.